Like she said, my name is Camille Jackson Jones now, actually, because I got married. So I actually live in Atlanta, but I commute back and forth here to see my clients in Maryland. So I'm here about every other week. And then every other week I go back home. So like she says, I am what's called a lymphatic drainage specialist. I specialize in energy therapy. What's important about energy therapy is we are energy. We're energy. We cannot heal energy outside of energy. You have to use energy to heal energy. So I am not a doctor. Many of my clients call me a doctor. I don't know why that's different, because many times you go to the doctor and you leave the appointment and don't feel better. You always feel better when you get off my table, right? And that's not because I'm great. That's because the body is great. My background is people are always asking how I learn what I learned. So I tell people that I had free med school. I had 3 parents who are physicians. All 3 of my parents are either surgeons or Western trained physicians. We had free med school. One of the things we don't do a lot, especially with this new generation, is we don't use the brain. You know, doctors are brilliant because they've chosen to study more than us, but they weren't born doctors, right? We were all born the same way. So we have the same ability to learn, and what we have as individuals is greater than what doctors have. We have our own bodies that talk to us every single second of every single day. So what I do is I teach people how to listen and then figure out what the body is telling them and use what the body already has to heal itself. So people ask me, what kind of things have I seen get better? There's nothing I've seen not get better. Symptoms of Parkinson's, dementia, cancer, hair loss, pain, it doesn't matter what it is, the body will revert it if you allow the body to reset, okay? And that's the main thing we have this problem with. We have a country who has conditioned us to believe that we have to go outside of this to heal this, right? But one thing I always tell people is man did not create man. We're not that smart, right? So something greater than us created this, which means something greater than us also has to heal this. So what I use is energy frequencies, right? High frequencies, radio frequencies, the same way that neurotransmitters communicate in the body is what I use to allow the body to heal itself in that state. So I'm going to say something to people, and a lot of the times it's very hard for my clients to get what I'm saying. And it's not because it's untrue, it's because we've been conditioned to think something else. So when we talk about disease, I'm going to say something and people are going to be like, uh-oh, you can't say that. There is no disease. There is no such thing as a disease. What they call a disease in Western medicine is an unease and an imbalance in the body. You want to fix an imbalance, you rebalance it, okay? Meds don't do that. The body does that, okay? And what I tell people is not what I read. This is what I see every single day, all day that I work, and this is what my clients experience. My clients experience healing, right? I don't like to call them patients because I'm not a doctor. I am not trained to look at a symptom and fix a symptom. I am a holistic provider, which means I look for the origin of the symptom, not at the symptom. If you treat a symptom and you don't fix the cause of the symptom, you will get that symptom again, or you will get other symptoms related to the origin that we didn't fix. Okay, so there's some very interesting conversations in my house with my parents, who, in having a conversation, we will literally say the same thing, but we will say it from a different mindset. They are looking at what a description of a symptom says. I'm looking at what created that symptom. So in saying what I said about disease, I'm going to say something else. And people are like, oh, here you go, you can't say any of that. Everything that Western medicine considers a disease is a sinus problem. It is a sinus problem. What do we know heals the body? Cells, right? How do cells function? Oxygen. Cells can't turn over without oxygen, which means they can't heal without oxygen. Where do we get oxygen from? Your face. The heart and the lungs do not breathe oxygen. They are fed oxygen from the sinus cavities in the face. If you are a Bible believer, where did God breathe life into the body? In the nose. There are multiple sinus cavities in the face and in the head. That's why when we breathe through the nostril, right? The air goes straight up to what we call what? If you believe in the metaphysical, what do they call this? Third eye. This is also on a skeleton, what is actually the nose. This on a skeleton is empty. There's nothing there. There's nothing there on a skeleton. There's no bone down here. This is the nose. This is also where the body begins to filter clean air and fluid. So the air goes up the nose, turns to fluid because the body is made up of fluid, and it detoxes and heals and balances in fluid. We're like the atmosphere, we're like the planet, right? Which is why climate change is affecting us the way it's affecting the planet. The planet storms, we get sick. It's the same thing. So the air goes up, turns to fluid, and then the body says, okay, we're going to start filtering toxins through the sinus cavities, underneath the eyes, down the sides of what's called the maxillary or the cheeks, through the mandible, down the chin, and into the lymph system. Your body's life starts right here. Your throat is where your body gets its air, its nutrients, and its water. If this is feeding mucus to this, your body is getting fed mucus and the body stops moving. It gets stagnant, it gets inflamed, and then they tell you have what? Cancer, sinus problems, pain, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. The body cannot function and turn over if it is not getting clean air. It's like us trying to run a marathon through slime. You might be able to do it. It's going to take you a real long time. And if it starts to rain or starts to snow in the middle of you running through that slime, guess what's happening to you? You're slowing down, you're getting worse, you're going to break down, and at some point you're going to stop. So when the air, or what's supposed to be air, gets to here, the body, this is your body's trash can, it's also your body's filter. So, I do not promote violence. I'm just saying this because they would teach you this in a self-defense course. If you punch somebody in their throat, they die. Instantly. Instantly. If you punch them in their thoracic duct, if you kick them here, when they give you a trach, where do they give you a trach? Right here, because this opens your airway, right? This is what feeds the heart and the lungs their oxygen. This is what is supposed to filter out contaminants. But if we're breathing toxins and noxious fumes the particles are too big to be filtered through the body, guess what happens to them? They get stuck in the face. Then what happens to the face? It expands, the jaws expand, mucus comes down into the lymphs, into the body. The body cannot turn over and remove that, and we are essentially what they call diseased or sick. But the body itself, this right here, this is only a covering. This is a case. What this does is it protects the balance of energy that people actually are, right? We're frequency, we're energy. So if I take off my socks and walk on a carpet and I touch you, I'm gonna shock you because that is the transference of the person. This is just a covering. This is supposed to protect what's on the inside and what's supposed to stay balanced. So what I use are those same types of frequencies, right? So if the body is energy, when you look at a body outside of or inside of this covering, the body essentially looks like what I'm about to show you. And this is the only way, y'all, you can heal the body. See this orange light? Sometimes this frequency is orange, sometimes it's blue, whether I'm trying to heat something up or cool it off. If I touch my hand or barely touch it, you will see little sparks that leave here. This is what your body is, this in here. So this at all times has to stay at a state of equilibrium or homeostasis or pH balance. The minute that balance upsets, you raise your propensity and your probability of getting sick. So if we talk about, if we go to this theory that I'm talking about sinus inflammation, and I do a series called Let's Talk Sinus where I talk about sinus related to disease. People are always like, well, wait, how about this? Okay, let's use logic. One of the things we've lost, especially in being trained by TV and the internet, is to not use this up here. We don't use this at all. We don't ask a question. We go sit in front of a doctor who, by the way, doctors are amazing. They are genius. They do things I can't do. They learn things I can't learn. But what I do have is logic. What we all have is logic. Why do we go and sit in front of someone who did not create us and trust everything that they say as they make an educated guess when your body tells you all the time exactly what's wrong with you? Okay? So when we talk about this balance, we have to use this frequency. The body follows the brain. If the brain doesn't function, or if the brain has a short circuit, then you get neurological and physical problems. If you get a phone wet, what does the phone do? It short circuits and it stops working. Hello, ADD, ADHD, Parkinson's, dementia, autism. Those are short circuits of a brain frequency that the brain can't tell the body how to behave without resetting it, right? We have to rebalance. So when I say that we're like the atmosphere, the earth is made up of mostly water that has to stay in balance, that is protected by an ozone that is designed to filter the planet. We are energy that is made up of mostly fluid that is supposed to be protected by a lymphatic system, filtration system. Global warming is causing Mother Nature to storm. It is also causing us to be sick, i.e. the instances of cancer. This relatively new increase of breast cancer in men and women, anybody want to know why that's the case? The breasts have the most lymph tissue in the body. They also sit under the clavicle bone and the throat, which means if there's mucus coming into the rain shower, there's mucus going into the lymph tissue in the breast. Mucus in tissues means tumor, cyst, polyp. It's all the same thing. So when we go to doctors, you need to be able to go to your doctor. And I will say this first. You hire your doctor to work for you through your premium of an insurance company. You're contracting a doctor. Do not let a doctor dictate what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to the doctor and tell the doctor what's going on with you and discuss with them what the next logical steps are. If you leave your doctor's office and you can't say to yourself, that makes sense, don't do what they suggested, because what they suggested is a suggestion, right? What you know in your body is what you know in your body. My clients come in and lay on a table and they get up and they feel better. They've seen 12 doctors, 18 doctors. They've traveled the world and nobody can figure out the problem because they're not asking the client. They're not asking you. I can't help you if I don't have a conversation with you and I don't ask you what you drink, how you feel, how you sleep, what kind of activity you do, when you think this problem started. There's nothing I can do for you that's actually going to help you. You help me to help you. So when you sit in front of your doctor and you can't do this, this is what I teach my clients. You have to quantify your lifestyle. So if you can't go to a doctor and say, listen, doc, I'm having shoulder pain. It doesn't hurt when I sleep, but it hurts when I do this. And if I eat this, it doesn't hurt. And my mobility is about 40% in that arm. But if I exercise, and blah, 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 blah. If you can't go and sit and tell your doctor that information, you're not going to be helped when you leave. So that's the whole point about using your own energy to heal your own energy. I'm not telling people, and I will never tell people not to go to a doctor. Because if I have a question about something, first thing I'm going to do is call my parents and be like, hey, I got a question. But I'm going to take what they tell me and then use my own logic to determine what my next steps are going to be. And if you don't believe what I'm saying, you simply ask my clients. They're the ones that get up and they feel better. There hasn't, yes, thank you very much, my dear. There hasn't been, I have a Parkinson's client whose shaking stopped in 30 minutes because you know what I taught her how to do? Massage her sinuses. Muscles need oxygen to work. If they don't have oxygen, what do? They shake and they get weak. Give them some air and they will strengthen. Same thing with blood pressure. You have high blood pressure, why? Because the blood has to beat harder, it has to beat faster. Why does it have to beat faster? Because it doesn't have enough air. Give it some air and it will regulate itself. But air only comes from one place in the body. It only comes from here, which is why this is called a head, which is why it's on the top, because everything underneath here follows this. So we have to use this, which is what controls our wellness, right? This is what controls our wellness. If you don't get control of this, then we have big pharma, right? TV and the internet shows you a medication commercial that guarantees in stating it to you that it's going to kill you if it doesn't give you genital gangrene or cut off whatever limbs you have. It's going to tell you in the commercial that it's going to kill you, but because it's repeated over and over and over, your brain frequency says, hey, I need that. And you know what your body does? It follows what your brain just told it. So then it's going to feel a certain way. Your body's going to feel pain. And your body's going to be like, daggone it. You know, this whole thing about restless leg syndrome, I want to smack people for. If your legs are tingling, it's because you're not moving them and there's not enough air. So you have to get up and exercise them, right? When we have cancer clients who get lymphedema after cancer. So let me explain this lymph system. Understand that the lymph nodes don't just hang around the body by themselves, right? They're not separate. The lymph system starts in the throat, goes across the clavicle, underneath the arms, down through the torso, all the way down to the bottom of the feet, and it connects. This is one unit, right? If I split the top of your head and peel your skin off, it is one piece of skin. It's the same piece of skin. It's one unit. It's one engine. It's one body. So when they tell you that you have what they call cancer, and I say that because cancer is not a thing. And it's going to be very hard for some of us who have had people die with that condition. You heard me say with that condition, not from that condition. Cancer does not kill you. The treatment of cancer kills you. When you have someone who has what they call a cyst, a polyp, a tumor, pain in the body, hair loss, do you know what that means? That means that your lymph system is not functioning fast enough to remove excess fluid and mucus through the kidneys before the body continues to build more of it, right? So if they tell you that you have cancer, that means this: your lymph system is not functioning and it's full of mucus. So if they take out a lymph node from a Christmas tree light of lymph system, they are cutting the efficacy of that system that was already vulnerable by another 50%. That is what kills you, because you are taking the body's one system that was designed to heal it and you're cutting it in half. So when people get lymph nodes taken out, what happens to them? They swell, they get lymphedema, or they get edema, and they wear these compression things that push fluid all over the body. But if you're not stimulating your lymph system to then remove that fluid, all you're doing is creating the problem, which is why the treatment of cancer is what kills you. Cancer is not a thing. It is a word that was created by Big Pharma to create fear in you that signifies an increase of inflammation in the body that Western medicine doesn't treat, but your body does. You give your body a chance to detox, then your body will heal itself. We have a natural daily ebb and flow of inflammation and detox. So if I had a birthday and I went out and celebrated birthday like Camille celebrates birthday, I'm going to be inflamed. I'm going to eat sugar. I'm going to drink alcohol. I'm going to eat a ton of carbs. I'm going to eat cake. I'm going to eat cupcakes. The body takes a little bit for that inflammation to be shunted through the kidneys. But if I happen to have a doctor's appointment that week and they take my blood, guess what they're going to tell me? Oh, your levels are high. Hell yeah, they're high. Of course they're high, because my body's trying to get rid of my birthday. But if I have my appointment that week, then I'm going to be told something that's not the case. Yeah, my levels are high, but it's high for a reason. That's my body's indicator. The body has indicators. You itch, you hurt, the skin turns dark, you have pain. All of those are indicators. You know how easy it is to heal a problem? You know what eczema is? You know what acne is? You know what skin tags are? Mucus on the outside of the skin. The body will always try to detox itself through the outermost places of the body. The skin, the hands, the feet, the face, the hair. So these are all the nerves. They talk to us. That's our benefit. Doctors don't know anything about that. And if you have Kaiser has a limit on how long they can see you anyway. So in 20 minutes, you can't learn my full name. So I don't know what you're going to tell me about how to heal what's going on inside of here. So what I always remind people to do is learn how to listen to yourself. I have 5 favorite things, right? Himalayan salt is one. Y'all know what Himalayan salt is? It's Dead Sea salt. The reason people go into the Dead Sea and they heal is that Dead Sea salt is full of minerals. Minerals break down mucus, which means cells can turn over, which means they oxygenate and can heal the body. Himalayan salt is a highly based mineral salt, right? You can put it directly on the body for swelling. You can put it on the throat and kill the flu in 5 minutes. You can use it for skin problems. You can put it in your hair. What it does is it breaks down the blockages and lets your body flow, right? Love Himalayan salt. Pink or white? Pink has more minerals. Pink has more magnesium, white has more minerals. So lots of people like Epsom, right? Epsom salt's okay, but Epsom salt is high in magnesium. Himalayan salt has more minerals. So we want minerals in our body. That's why people who eat vegan diets or green diets can heal, because that green, those minerals break down that mucus that creates the illness, right? So Himalayan salt is 1. Percussion is 2. If y'all don't know about percussion, okay, this right here, and I bet you half of y'all have one of these in your house because somebody's given it to you for Christmas and you never knew what to do with it. Brookstone used to sell the big ones that had 2 heads on them. This one you can get from CVS, right? It's made by the Wall Company. This thing vibrates. So a percussor has a long handle because the head is very heavy. So if somebody had arthritis, they had swelling, they had pain, I would use this on wherever they had pain for 5 minutes and their pain would be gone. Not even 5 minutes. 3, maybe 2 minutes. When you look at a cell in under a microscope, what are they doing? They're vibrating, right? So if you want to stimulate them to do what they're meant to do, you vibrate them. You use like cures like. That's the basis of holistic modalities. Like cures like. You can't give chemo and radiation to energy that is trying to clean itself. You're making it dirty. You can't do that. So percussors, that's number 2. I use them on my back, my shoulders. We're on computers all day, y'all. Y'all heard about carpal tunnel? Where do they tell you carpal tunnel is? In your wrist. No, it's not. Carpal tunnel exhibits itself in your wrist. Carpal tunnel starts up here. So we have to know how to feel the body. So when you're feeling your body, I tell people that we're born, well, at least until they started playing with our DNA, we used to be born in perfection in the way we're supposed to live most of our lives, with smooth skin, hair, and no problems, right? So if you use that basis to learn to feel what your body feels like, you will know when you have a buildup of scar tissue. If you rub your body and you feel a place that is hard, or you feel what I consider, what I call gristle, you know, like chicken gristle, that is scar tissue. That should not be there. But because scar tissue starts as fluid before it settles in the tissue and gets hard, then you can vibrate that out, okay? Those are indicators. So I have Himalayan salt, I have percussion. Who knows about binaural beats? Naomi, I know we talked about that earlier. Who knows what binaural beats are? Okay, anybody heard, y'all always listen to the Breathe app and you listen to sounds and music and they call it spa music. You know, they call it spa music because what happens when you go to a spa? You relax, right? But what is it that makes you relax? It's what's happening to the brain frequency. So things like running water, rain, wind. You notice how when you go to the Caribbean, you always feel better? That is a binaural state because salt in the ocean and the sea cleans the air. That's what Himalayan salt does. Free radicals, which keep us sick, are positive ions in the air. Himalayan salt creates negative ions that kill the positive, gives you cleaning. So binaural beats, the word binaural means between two ears. What's between two ears? The brain. The brain controls the body. So when we listen to certain hertz or frequency of hertz of music, it affects different systems in the body. There are binaural beats for ADD, dementia, Parkinson's, pain, wrinkles in your skin, hair loss. But all it is this relaxation music that has a certain amount of hertz that speak to different hertz in the body that speaks to your energy, right? Then we've got essential oils. There is an essential oil for any problem you will ever have forever in your life. Amen. If you understand what they're for. We are from the earth, no? Our energy is earthly. Everything that we need to heal this earth is from the earth. That's what cannabis is for. I didn't say weed, I said cannabis, okay? So if you like weed, that's fine. It's still going to heal you. But I said cannabis. So when we talk about essential oils, make sure you get a pure essential oil. And what I mean is an unblended essential oil. doTERRA has nice oils, yes, but they're blended. I get my oils from a wholesaler, which means they are not blended yet, and create my own blends. Pure blends can be put directly on the skin with no carrier oils. Okay, I mean pure oils can be put directly on the skin. When we're talking about sinuses, basil oil, pine needle, eucalyptus, frankincense are only 4 of the hundreds of oils that breaks mucus and will get rid of everything. Asthma, COPD, all of those things, sleep apnea, those are all the same disease, y'all. It's the same thing. Big Pharma just made them different diseases so they could sell you 27 different meds that are all going to kill you at the same time. So if you're using things like inhalers, why are you using an inhaler? An inhaler is compressed gas. You put a compressed gas up your nose or in your mouth, and that gas then settles. It settles into your frequency in the brain, and then your body's just collateral damage, right? So we need to do things that allow the body to break mucus and then turn over, right? For all of those things, autism, ADD, ADHD, dementia, all of those things are neurological issues, but we are neurological. We're energy. So we have to keep resetting that energy. So I said Himalayan salt, percussion, essential oils, binaural beats. What's my 5th and my final? I said it already. Cannabis. Cannabis. Cannabis, y'all. So for my weed smokers, this is a moot point, right? But I need you to understand that there is a very big difference between cannabis and marijuana. What is the difference between cannabis and marijuana? So that's why I'm telling you. Cannabis is not marijuana, and marijuana is not cannabis. Cannabis is a plant that heals the body. We have receptors for cannabis in the body. Cannabis produces two plants. It produces a hemp plant and it produces a marijuana plant. A hemp plant is very high in a cannabinoid called CBD. Marijuana is very high in a cannabinoid called THC. Both of them are healing to the brain because what cannabis does is it promotes homeostasis, y'all. We just talked about balance. Cannabis balances the brain. The endocannabinoid system sits on top of the lymph system. Remember what I said about balance? Everything comes in twos, i.e. Noah's Ark. For one action, there has to be another. So we have a lymph system which is designed to detox, a cannabinoid system which is designed to put back. Women have cannabinoids in breast milk, which is why we're supposed to breastfeed our children. That's where our immune system comes from. When we get toxic, the body stops producing enough cannabis. You should be on some sort of cannabinoid every day. If you like to smoke it, smoke it. If you like to eat it, eat it. The problem that they are now telling people about these dispensaries is that if you grow hemp or marijuana in the United States, the soil is owned by Monsanto, basically, which means even if you claim it's grown organically, you're going to get insecticides and pesticides in that. So I get my CBD from a company that harvests theirs in Amsterdam, so we don't even have to worry about that. But in America, when you don't have the right temperatures to create pure hemp or to grow pure hemp, most of what these dispensaries are getting are marijuana plants where they are isolating the CBD from it. But if you isolate CBD from a marijuana plant, you're going to be getting a lot more THC than they're actually claiming that you're going to get. So if you work for the government and you get tested, you have no idea what you're actually getting in what you're getting from a dispensary, which is why they're not regulated. So when you look at the types of cannabis that you should be taking, you need to take cannabis that has a scientific backing. Our cannabis has a triple lab test. We test it when we plant it, when we harvest it, and before we bottle it. So we make sure the levels are the same. But the idea is the word medical marijuana technically isn't right. It should be medical cannabis, because in medical cannabis you can take two different forms of that. You know, some people just like the high. But even though it's a high, it's still healing you, which is what's crazy about what the government's trying to do with it, because it's going to heal you anyway, right? Everything we've been told about marijuana is a lie. Period. So I actually have, so y'all can have this. So I printed this, right? So you all can see this. I actually superimposed a picture of the lymph system with the endocannabinoid system on the top of it, so that you see every place that the lymph has an importance, the ECS system sits right on top of it. So you have to detox and then put back. Balance. You have to keep that balance. So those 5 things are literally all y'all need if you know how to listen to your body to heal yourselves. I'm not saying don't go to a doctor. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is take their suggestions and then add your knowledge to it. They don't have knowledge about you. They don't know anything about you. You do, though, and then they have other knowledge that the two of you can work together, but don't let them dictate, because one thing about averages, there are no averages. There's no you, there's no you, there's no you, but you. There's no me. I don't care if we have twins, but we are all absolutely individual, which means there is no one way to treat everybody, which is why you have to take what you know about you, take that energy to the people you trust to give you suggestions about what to do next. Okay? All right, so, I will tell y'all, this is what I mean. So, this is a vitamin CBD supplement. You take a dropper full a day. It's got 16 grams of CBD in it. For people who are healthy and who just want a vitamin, this would be a vitamin. People who are ill and have issues, you want to take at least 25 to 100 milligrams of cannabis every day. I take an oil, a pill, a protein shake, and I use a salve. All that has CBD in it. I never get sick. I am never tired. I haven't been to the doctor in 7 years and haven't been to the dentist in 8. That I am not telling people to do, but that's only because I understand how to read my body, right? So I'm going to know what to do to my body before it's even time to get to a doctor. That's what I teach my clients, is how to read, is how to listen, because you have everything that you need. If you listen to your body, you can look at it, you can smell it, you can touch it. Those are all given to us for keeping ourselves well, right? Everything else is for profit. But you guys can take that next state and take what you know to your doctor, right? If your doctor says, you know, you need to be on high blood pressure, why? Because you took my blood pressure one day out of 365, and the other 364, my blood pressure doesn't say that, then have that conversation. What we're missing with our doctors is conversation. If they're not willing to talk to you, then they're not willing to treat you. So you need to let them understand that you're using this. This is a brain. This is logic. That you can then take that logic that they had to, you can take that logic to them and let them help you. So people ask, what kind of things do I see and treat? Hair loss, skin problems, pain, cancer, fibromyalgia, ALS, name something. There isn't anything that I have not done lymph drainage on, and it hasn't worked. People come to me now because they've been to many, many doctors without any relief, and they come to me and they're like, well, wow, that makes sense. That's exactly what you should be saying every time you leave your doctor. If that's not what you're saying, then don't do what they suggest, right? But you need to learn how to listen to what your body's telling you, right? Any questions before I let Nana go? Yes?
I do. What about vitiligo? I know that's a...
Very good question. That's funny. I just saw a vitiligo client the other day, and she called me today and was like, Camille, is it just me or is my vitiligo going away? Yeah, vitiligo goes away. So you know what vitiligo is? Like I said about everything else, it's a sinus problem. When we get ready to, this is kind of morbid, but when we get ready to pass on, what happens to the color of the skin? It lightens, right? Without oxygen, there's no blood flow, which means that the skin will lighten. So the whole deal is you have to open up the body's oxygen so that there aren't little pockets where the body's getting air and when it's not getting air. When did Michael Jackson get vitiligo? When he cut his nose in half. That's when his vitiligo started. It didn't start before then. That is why he began sleeping in oxygen. Because he got vitiligo after he cut his nose. He cut his sinus passage in half, and the body needs that air, right? Yes?
What about sickle cell anemia?
Very good question. Sickle cell anemia, I'm glad you asked that, because there are us in here. I love us. Okay, so there is something very important about our melanin, right? Which is why they want our organs, okay? Melanin protects the body. And what they see in sickle cell is nothing. What they call sickle cell anemia is what they're looking at when they see cancer. All they're seeing is inflamed cells. So I'm going to say something. Here comes you, big brother, but who cares? Part of these experiments, like the syphilis experiment, Ancestry.com, all of these things are designed to create diseases that are prone to our type of skin and color. It is, again, an oxygen problem. We, in our melanin, have thicker skin cells, right? That's what protects us from the UV rays in the sun. That's why black don't crack, right? But what that does is creates our thickness to create different size cells in the body, right? It's not about the sickle cell. It's about the actual symptoms that you are having or not, right? It's like ALS. ALS, they tell people, is a neurological condition when really it starts in the legs and it's a weakness where people can't walk. That's an oxygen problem. But for us, again, remember, our bodies need more air to supply these cells. People who have, do you have sickle cell?
No, but my godmother does.
Yeah, and what kind of symptoms does she have?
I don't know. I know she said like she gets severe back pain when it's like have a reaction.
Yes.
And sometimes, like you said, like she lacks oxygen, and that's when
Yes.
she has to be hospitalized.
Yes. So the thing about us too is that we have stronger and thicker bone structure, which means we oftentimes have less oxygen flowing to our bodies, not because there's a problem, but because there isn't a problem. So things for her like even drinking Himalayan salt, cannabis, all of those things balance out the body and feed cells their air, which is why when she breathes oxygen, she feels better, right? Those things. Diabetes is another one. Diabetes is a sinus problem, y'all. The lymph system detoxes mucus through the kidneys, but if the lymph system has mucus in it, guess what the kidneys can't do? Can't process sugar, and it holds on to that. And again, we're not meant to fit in these averages.
Yeah.
These are Western averages. These don't have anything to do with us, but they do because they created them because they know we wouldn't fit. So what that does is that means they have this, that, and the other. No, we don't. We just don't fit your numbers. We don't fit your numbers. And we're not meant to fit your numbers either. So things like, even for her, if she's got intense pain, finding a place that has a hyperbaric chamber, doing some sessions in a hyperbaric chamber, drinking Himalayan salt, using a percussor on her body. If you use a percussor for 5 minutes on somebody that has sickle cell, they will feel like they don't have it in 10 minutes. Yes?
So you mentioned the diabetes.
Yes.
So you work with people who were able to stop taking medicine?
Certainly. Oh, yeah. Yeah. One thing that's great about holistic everything is if you know that it's good for the body, it's an immediate reaction. Do I tell people, am I saying that when they get off the table that their diabetes goes away? No, but what I am saying, when they get off the table, their diabetes numbers go down significantly. It's a detox of mucus. If you give the body what it needs to be, diabetes patients, I always put on cannabis. Always on CBD, because that will clean that stuff out real quick. But absolutely, people who have diabetes, certainly. Yes?
Endometriosis.
Oh, so endometriosis. How many of y'all have been or were on birth control pills at some point in your life? That is where endometriosis and fibroids come from. Cycles in the body are natural. When the body is having a cycle or a menstrual cycle, it is ridding the ovaries of what it doesn't need. The minute we start changing that with foreign entities like meds, you know what the body does? When the body has what it signals as trauma, the body sends fluid to that area. And then the lymphs are supposed to remove that fluid after they do their healing. But what happens is when we live in America and we don't breathe clean air and we eat sugar and carbs and food that is killing us, the body, all of that sits in the tissues and becomes scar tissue. Endometriosis is scar tissue. So if you have endometriosis, you can do lots of stuff. 1, you could do CBD. 2, you can also percuss. 3, you can use grapefruit essential oil. You all do know that's why they say don't eat grapefruit, right?
Yeah.
Why?
Grapefruit is one of the most anti-inflammatory things that you can eat or put on your body. So if you use it, guess what they don't have an excuse to do? Put you on meds. And now they've added ginger and turmeric to that list, which is which they're trying to kill us even faster than that, right? So for endometriosis, that is an inflammatory disorder. You do things that are anti-inflammatory. There is something that's called fibrenza. That is a digestive enzyme. Every person should be on fibrenza. Fibrenza eats fibrin, which is what's in scar tissue, and gets rid of it. I had fibroids a long time ago. Don't have them anymore because the fibrenza ate them up. Same thing for endometriosis. Any type of uterine pain, it doesn't matter. Take it every day. Gastric problems.
Where do you get that from?
Order it online. Vitamin Shop used to sell it in the store, and they don't anymore because it helps you. So get it. So you need to get it offline. Yes.
Wow.
So basically, I forgot what meds I was on one time, and they told me do not eat grapefruit because it could cause death.
So
I had never had it, and I love grapefruit.
So
Never
grapefruit. If you read the inserts, which nobody ever does, they actually tell you in the insert that grapefruit blocks an enzyme that causes inflammation. So that's why they tell you not to eat it. Eat it every day. Eat it every day. Drink grapefruit juice with no sugar in it. And I'm not telling people to come off their meds and do that. Do that. Nothing holistic is ever going to kill you. Ever. Grapefruit is not going to kill you. The meds are going to kill you, but the grapefruit is not. So absolutely you can take grapefruit, yes.
So, but what about the combination of, the natural fruit, the grapefruit and then whatever medication? That too? The
No.
combination one?
No. There isn't one. What they're worried about is the grapefruit causing the anti-inflammatory benefit that is going to confuse them in what the blood pressure is actually doing. It's just a way for them to not be able to increase blood pressure meds. If meds worked, you would take them and then stop.
Right.
You don't take them forever.
Yeah.
You don't take them for 20, 30, 40 years because they're not working. So you use things that create an anti-inflammatory condition in the body so that you don't have to be on it. That's the point. Yes?
There seems to be a rise in MS. Where is that coming from? My brother has it.
Oh, okay. I'm glad she asked about that. I'm glad. So let me tell you. You gotta go, don't you? Let me tell you about MS. MS is a condition where they read a whole level of inflammation in the body that causes pain. But remember, Western medicine is not trained to treat pain. So remember what I said about climate change and the storms. The air is imbalancing, which means we can never stabilize, which means the muscles are holding a lot of fluid. MS is what they call levels of inflammation that they can't figure out what it is. They'll either call it MS, fibromyalgia, or ALS. And there is an increase of it because the air is changing. And we are breathing more noxious fumes than we are air. People who have MS, get them a percussor. Get them on cannabis every single day. MS just means that there is inflammation in the body and the doctors can't fight it. I see MS clients all the time, and as soon as I teach them how to percuss themselves, their symptoms go away. Their symptoms go away.
Is that like the vest that the people wear when they have like lung problems?
No, that's a compression garment.
Oh.
The problem with compression garments, just like they give to people who have cancer, is if you're compressing a bunch of fluid in a body that's not open, you're only moving the fluid around until it settles somewhere else. You got to open the gate, right? Yes. Oh.
You mentioned hair loss.
Oh yeah, hair loss is a sinus problem, y'all. Okay, so real quick, there are.
It's working for me.
So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sinus cavities in the face and the head. 2 very big ones right here that are connected to the frontal sinus. So the same thing that creates vision problems is what creates hair loss. So this is an oxygen pathway. But if the sweet spot here if the filter has mucus in it, then guess what it's doing? It's blocking oxygen and fluid to the hair follicle. When hair doesn't have oxygen and hydration, then it gets dry, then it falls out. All you need to do is percuss your head. Percuss your head. Wash it with Himalayan salt. I teach people how to percuss their faces to open up that airway. Hair loss is a sinus problem, and it will come back. I don't care how long your hair has been gone. Yes.
So I have 2. The first one is acne.
Yes.
Because I haven't had acne all my life, and then all of a sudden for the last this year, I just keep on getting acne after acne after acne.
I want y'all to understand how fast we're killing the environment. Acne, eczema, and psoriasis are all the body's way of trying to detox toxins through the skin, and they can't because the bodies aren't moving as fast, right? So for you, this little thing and then I have to let my little man go. This little thing, this is the companion to the one I showed you earlier. This also you can get at CVS. This is your best friend, because you know what you do sometimes sitting in front of the TV? Massage your face. This will open up sinus cavities, and as soon as you start to do it, your acne will go away. It's air, y'all, which is why when we say climate change is killing the environment, it's killing us faster.
And I do have nasal congestion.
See?
And I took it this morning.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody noticed recently you haven't been able to breathe? Right. Because the body can't reset. What's happening when people have seasonal allergies is that the pressure in the air changes from spring to summer, from summer to fall. But the way that we're killing the ozone is like season change every day. So the body's doing this all day and it never stays still. And if it can't stay still, we get acne and hair loss and increase in MS and increase in fibromyalgia and increase in cancer. It is barometric pressure change. That's it. So what we're doing constantly is playing catch up. You have got to surround yourself in a binaural environment. You've got to use essential oils. You've got to light essential oil candles. You have to go to salt caves and drink Himalayan salt and be on CBD every day. You have got to do things that keep your body active. They tell people with arthritis not to move. That's the only thing they should be doing. You have to let your muscles oxygenate. And because we're not breathing air anymore, like people laugh at me because they're like, Camille, you want to live in a bubble. Damn right, if I could find one, I would live in one. But you have to do things that stimulate your body to process, right? And they're not processing. Yes?
Where would you suggest the best place to get the CBD and the pure essential oils?
So, there's a website, right? There is a website that is called stjohnsbotanicals.com.
Didn't they used to do vitamins back in the day?
stjohns botanicals.com. They have the purest oils, and I will never get anything from anywhere but there, because they're a wholesaler, right? Their oils are pure, right?
Saint, you spell it out or ST?
ST, John's Botanicals. There is a place that's far for y'all in Columbia, Maryland, that has a hyperbaric chamber. There is a salt cave in Bethesda, and I love them. I get my salt from there, and then I will tell you where I get my CBD from. St. John's Botanicals. Yes. So if you go on to, and you could go to CEJ Images on social media and see the hemp website, but you can go to CEJImageshemp.com to get the CBD.
One more thing.
Can you say
You mentioned a mention.
Yes, CEJImageshemp.com.
All right, I think we have time for maybe one more question
Dimension.
or two more.
Just one.
You sure?
We'll do two.
Okay.
That's my thyroid.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so who wants to guess what is the actual problem with hypothyroidism?
Sinus.
What about sinus? Why though? Yes, come here because I'm going to give you a prize.
Because me and you, we here.
I'm going to give you a prize. So you actually get a sample of my CBD. This is awesome.
Oh, yeah, and I breastfeed too.
Yeah,
So
this is for you. You get a sample and the salve.
Thank you.
So y'all, the thyroid sits right here, which means it is directly in the pathway of where the sinuses have to send fluid and oxygen to the throat. So if remember, we eat and we talk with our mandible, which means lots of lactic acid on top of sinus inflammation, which is why as we get older, we get big this way. But if there's a blockage here, all that's on the thyroid is mucus, which makes it engorged, and then they say you have hypothyroidism. You want to know how to get rid of a goiter? Take a handful of Himalayan salt and place it on your thyroid. Keep it on there for about 10 minutes until that goes away.
Are you mixing it with water or anything?
No. Your blood flow, so like a salt lamp, blood heat creates the ions, right? So your blood flow in your hands and in your neck will activate that salt. You can also take a liquid iodine either by mouth or take a liquid iodine and paint your thyroid. Or you can take the percussor and percuss the mucus out, or you could do a combination of all of them. But they will go away. So then they take out a thyroid, which is stupid because you need that. And then the problem wasn't the thyroid. The problem is the sinuses.
Because I do have a sinus problem, but yeah.
Yeah, we
I mean,
all
it's
do.
all making sense.
We all do. Everything. Sleep, brain problems, ADD, ADHD, they're all sinus problems. The brain frequency can't function in mucus. It's a short circuit like a phone. So we have to dry that out, reset it, and let the body get what it needs.
Can we get a link for that, what you're recording?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I will put that out. That's actually going to be on Facebook, on the CEJ, what is it on? Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah, it's going to be on the CEJ Images Facebook page.
Just one more question.
Yes.
Polyps.
Polyps. Hey, y'all. Polyps, tumors, and cysts are the same thing. It means they are masses of tissue with mucus in them. In the abdomen, that's where people get a lot of them. In the brain, sinus. Remember, it's mucus. So for polyps, you can take a percussor and percuss a polyp away. I don't care where it is. If it's in the abdomen, you can percuss that away. You can use salt. You can use grapefruit oil. You can take Himalayan salt baths. But polyps, again, are a sinus problem because the body can't get rid of mucus. And so the tissues build up and they build up and they build up, and then you have a cyst or a polyp. If you go to a doctor and ask a doctor to differentiate those, I would love to know what their answer was going to be. All right.
Thank you.
My dear, thank you for letting me go over. You're so sweet. So you and I can talk about
I'm a
what you
client.
decide to get.
It works. I have before and after pictures if you want to see it. Please believe.
Yeah, something else that this stuff works for, the body does everything. Breast lifts, breast reduction, thigh lifts, butt lifts. If you remove the problem, which is fluid and mucus, the body will snap back on its own. Right? Elasticity is cellular. So if the cells get all right, thank you, my dear. Yeah, with both, with the whole laser.
I can prove it. My breasts look. I mean, they're not big, but they're
Those are the two percussions that you recommend?
Absolutely. Those, yeah, it's easier if they're one head like that. Those you can get at CVS, you can get them at Walgreens, you can get them at Amazon if you shop on Amazon.
Do you have a card?
You know what? I do not, because I'm rebranding my stuff. But you can go to CEJ Images on all social media.
I'll make sure that everybody gets everybody's contact information today. So
Great.
from our caterers,
Great.
to our holistic persons.
Great.
No, I'm saying I'll send out a text message to make sure that everybody has all of the information. I hope y'all learned something.
Yeah.
This is what it's all about, you know.
Passing information.
Learn one another. Maybe I'll host another event like this when we have more time to kick it and have some girl talk in there, you know. But thank you all
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you.
Please take it. Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. Absolutely. Yes.